It would take Geelong until the 1925 season to add VFL silverware to a cabinet brimming with the spoils of the 1880s. A record 64,000 witnessed Geelong's 10-point win over Collingwood. Under captain coach Cliff Rankin, Geelong had led at every change, and despite being held goalless in the final term, held off the fast-finishing Magpies. Rankin finished with 5. In the system of the day, Geelong defeated Collingwood in the 1930 final by 26 points. But as the top team, the Magpies had the right to challenge. They did, and won a 4th straight flag by 30 points. A year later, under the new Page Final Four system, Geelong finished on top, and with stars like Karji Greaves, Jocko Todd and the young Reg Hickey, defeated Richmond by 40 points for the flag. In 1937, Geelong would again top the ladder, defeat Melbourne in a high-scoring second semi-final, and then in front of a record 88,000 played a classic grand final against Collingwood. Under captain coach Hickey, Geelong kicked 6 final quarter goals to 1 to secure a 32-point win and flag number 3. Jack Evans kicked 6 goals and Les Hardiman shut down the Pies' superstar Ron Todd. In the post-war years, no team managed to string together a run of success to match the mighty Geelong sides of Reg Hickey. The great champion had returned to Geelong in 1949 and put together a side that is still talked of with awe. These home movies show the iron-willed Hickey in a jovial mood as he hammed it up for the new-fangled movie camera. Among the plethora of young stars who would make their way to Kardinia Park was a boy from Clunes, destined to be one of the club's most famous sons.
Well, to me, Reg Hickey is undoubtedly the biggest name and the best name that the Geelong Football Club has ever had, without doubt. I lived in Hern Street, he lived in Strawn Avenue up in Hern Hill, and it was about a 5-minute walk, and I suppose that I spent 2 or 3 nights a week around at Reg Hickey's house, drinking cocoa and having toast with him and talking about football and everything connected with the football from the time he came, which was in about 1926.
In 1951, Geelong would end the season on top of the ladder, and under first-year skipper Fred Flanagan would meet the reigning premiers Essendon on grand final day. This was a Geelong side that included rookies of the calibre of McMaster and Pianto, superstar key forwards in George Kardinia and skipper Flanagan, the Brownlow medalist Bernie Smith.
Bernie Smith, great player. He was outstanding, he could read the game very well. But we found out what his main, not his main attribute, but one of his attributes was that he could run backwards just as fast as he could run forwards. You used to see him running out of a backpack backwards, and that was the reason.
Essendon was without its superstar full forward John Coleman, sensationally suspended, and in his absence, fullback Bruce Morrison was best of field.
Coleman used to beat us on his own, and he did all through the 51. There was no doubt that if he'd have played, I think that we would have been premiers in 52, but we wouldn't have been premiers in 51.
George Kardinia kicked 4, the Cats by 11 points. In those days, there was no Silver Cup, but in 1951, a special presentation was made, even if it was in a most low-key manner.
Ken Luke came in to congratulate us, of course, and several of other of his committee, and with it he had this trophy, and that's where it was presented after the game, as far as I can remember.
As they had done 14 years earlier, the Geelong faithful met at Kardinia Park to celebrate a mighty win by burying a toy bomber. A year later, they would be out to bury Lou Richards' Magpies. The Cats had dominated the 1952 season, and on grand final day, Flanagan would toss the coin with the cheeky Magpie rover.
Someone tossed a coin out and up it went, and I don't know who won the toss, but anyhow we started walking back to the centre. We're about halfway back, I suppose, and Lou stops, turns around to me and he said, "Now you big bastard." He said, "You come near me for the rest of the match." He said, "I will drop and kick your head over the grandstand." And I looked at him and I said, "Lou," I said, "if you're good enough to do that, I said, you're good enough to win the game.
6 goals up at the last change. Geelong would coast home by 46 points to win back-to-back flags. There would be 26 straight wins before the streak came to an end in round 14, 1953, in the mud against Collingwood at Kardinia Park. Only one man, Russell Hooker Renfrey, would play in every win. On grand final day, without George Ginninan, they would lose to Collingwood by 2 goals.
Well, 53, we had definitely the best side, and there was no doubt that an indiscretion by one of the players, and it really was highlighted, and it was wrong. The selectors took it the wrong way, and they left him out of the team, and I think it just upset the balance of the team.
Under Hickey, the Cats would continue to be a force in the 50s, topping the ladder in 1954 for the 4th straight season. But they would be sent packing with consecutive finals defeats. In 1955, with Davis at the helm, they would defeat Essendon but fall to Collingwood in the preliminary final. By 1957, they would have lost the magic, tumbling to the wooden spoon for the first time since 1944, when they fielded a seriously depleted side.
Well, I had a severe smash at Footscray, and I wasn't able to play in the finals, and whether or not that made a great deal of difference, I don't know. But the team was starting to disintegrate, and while it had been a magnificent team, you can't keep going forever, and that's what happens in football clubs.
Davis would bow out at the end of another disastrous year for the Cats, another wooden spoon. But for Davis, a year of personal triumph. He would captain his club, his state, and after the ANFC Carnival in Melbourne, cap a brilliant career by being named All-Australian Captain. The end was nigh for Hickey as well. After 304 games and 17 seasons, after the 1959 season, he would hand the coaching reins over to Bobby Davis.
Well, there were slight murmurs. There was murmurs the year before, actually, and people had come to me, and I said, I will never encroach on Reg Hickey's territory. If Reg Hickey decides to retire, then there is a chance that I might like to coach something like that.
Shocking joint. We were in a classrooms. They had the portable classrooms.